to weigh in on the military options that are before India, that are on the table. Let's cut across to retired Major General P.K. Seagal. He's a leading defense analyst, someone who's tracked India's military posture for decades. Major General, it's a pleasure having you with us on this edition that we are tracking very closely. Evening after evening, we're talking about the possibility of military action against Pakistan ever since the Pahalgam attack has taken place. Do tell us, given the unprecedented nature of this attack, which has targeted tourists in Pahalgam, innocent lives have been lost. What kind of red line do you think has been crossed, in your opinion, which may require military action from India's side? What do you think?
What Pakistan did was an act of war. Nothing short of it. They attacked India's soul. India has been proud for donkeys, decades. In fact, thousands of years, we've been very proud of our diversity. We've been saying our greatest strength is unity in diversity. They've attacked India's diversity. They killed innocent tourists based on their religion, and they left women and children to go and tell the tale as to what happened. They will remain haunted for years and years to come. As long as they live, they'll be haunted with that. Thereafter, they attacked the lifeline of Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is absolutely and totally dependent on tourism, and they wanting to attack the tourism aspect of Jammu and Kashmir. The good thing is that the entire nation stands absolutely and totally united. The central government is being supported by all parties whatsoever, and similarly, as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned, for the first time ever, all political parties stood behind the government of India and behind the Indian Armed Forces. Even Mehbooba Mufti and Sajjad Lone, who have been known to be anti-Indian in their outlook, absolutely and totally condemned this action. Entire world has been supportive of India. Only 3 countries have remained quiet. One is Pakistan, obviously, because Pakistan has already gone on the denial mode. The Pakistani Prime Minister said we've got nothing to do with it. They were the locals who did it. The Pakistani Army Chief is saying something similar. The Pakistani Defense Minister is saying something similar. But the very fact that digital confirmation points out to the fact that there was a control room in Karachi exactly on the same pattern as what happened in Mumbai. The Pakistani state, the Pakistani army, the Pakistani ISI, and the terrorist organizations all are hand in glove in masterminding this operation. They chose an area very carefully where there were virtually no escape routes. It has only non-motorable road which you can only traverse by foot.
Yes.
Or you can go by ponies, and there is no escape route.
Yes.
And the earliest that the security forces had reached that area is about an hour and a half. So they had ample of time to go after each and every individual, check their identity, tell them to sing, recite kalima.
Yes.
And also some of them were made to strip to check whether they were actually Hindus or Muslims, and thereafter kill them in a manner that is totally heinous and unacceptable. The entire world has condemned this. What must be most shocking as far as Pakistan is concerned is even Yunus, the caretaker head of the Bangladesh government, has absolutely and totally condemned this heinous act of Pakistan.
But Major General,
personally, I think this is nothing short of war. And Pakistan, when it says that, when you are abrogating or when we are saying held in abeyance that Indus Water Treaty, it's an act of war. They forget what they've done there is nothing short of an act of war.
So, sir, India has responded. India has responded diplomatically and economically. You mentioned the Indus waters. But from a purely military standpoint, sir, what are the available options on the table?
There are plenty of options, but what is very important is that we should hit the Pakistani heartland, that is Punjab. That is the source of all misery that has been inflicting on the neighborhood. When we carried out the surgical strike, it was carried out in POK. When we carried out the Balakot strike, it was again carried out in Pakhtunkhwa. We did not attack the heartland of Pakistan. It is absolutely important and vital that the first target that we must choose is the ISI headquarters. And we should also go after, the Prime Minister has stated that the Akas will not be spared. We should go after the location of where Dawood Ibrahim is, where Hafiz Saeed is, where Masood Azhar is, and where Salaluddin is. We are aware of their locations. As far as the terrorist launch pads are concerned and training camps are concerned, they would have already been relocated. And if we hit those areas, we'll be only hitting thin air and would achieve nothing. It's absolutely essential that whatever targets we choose have to be in the Pakistani heartland. It is that heartland which will pinch Pakistan the most, and we should keep them guessing as to what we're going to hit with.
So,
Rajnath Singh has categorically stated that this time the punitive action would be far more devastating, far more severe than the previous one. We're not going to go after the terrorist training camps or the launch pads. We got to go after the Pakistani air bases. We could attack the Pakistani army bases. We could attack the missile installations. We could also carry out attacks against the Pakistani Navy in the Arabian Sea. Keep the enemy off guard. Keep him guessing as to where the attack is going to come.
right.
But one thing is very certain: Pakistan is a rattle beyond an iota of doubt. They have taken several measures. First is they put the entire Pakistani army on the alert. They've said the ceasefire on LOC stands revoked. They've revoked the Shimla agreement, and they put the navy out in the Arabian Sea on an exercise. They also said they're going to carry out surface-to-surface missile firing tomorrow onwards. It's clearly indicated that they rattle beyond an iota of doubt. And it's very essential at this time we carry out major strikes against the Pakistani heartland.
So this kind of strike that you're talking about, Major General, is it going to be a precision strike, the Balakot kind of strike, or do you think that we need to go above and beyond that? This situation demands perhaps a bolder move.
There is absolutely going to be a far bolder move. The government of India, as well as the Prime Minister of India, has left absolutely no doubt whatsoever by saying that this strike is going to be far more punishing, far more punitive than the previous strikes.
Right.
Previous strikes had only a temporary. I'll say Pakistan got pushed, stalled by only a few years. But after the Balakot strike, which was in 2019 and today's 2025, they carried out series of massacres in Jammu and Kashmir on a smaller scale. The Indian government did not, unfortunately, punish them. We have to have consistency in our policy, which we were lacking so far. This government claims to be totally decisive and very strong, and India's global image is on the ascendant.
No.
We are emerging as a power to reckon with, and we must clearly indicate to Pakistan that we meaning business this time, and there is going to be absolutely no way that we're going to tolerate any nonsense of this variety hereafter.
So
the entire world is with us.
So you're saying that yes. So you're saying the bolder move will be to target training camps, launch pads. There would be deeper strategic assets inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, or even across the international border. Do you think India should cross the border and get boots on the ground?
Very interestingly, today we got very many assets available with us where we don't have to cross the border at all. Without crossing the border, we can hit targets within 400 to 500 kilometers of the border. Rafale has Scalp missile, which has got a range of 350 to 500 kilometers, and it can completely devastate an area or a target. Secondly, we got BrahMos missiles, which can do something similar. In addition, we got loiter ammunition, which can loiter around an area, search for what exactly you will be targeting it with, and thereafter carry out a precision strike. We got very many precision guided weapons. We got laser guided weapons. We got all sorts of weaponry that is available today. We don't have to cross the border. However, if you do cross the border,
yes,
there bound to be certain losses that did not occur when you carried out a surgical strike, when you carried out in POK. When you carry out an operation of this nature in the Pakistani heartland, there bound to be certain losses. The nation must be prepared to accept that. You have to pay a price. Pakistan is bound to react and react viciously. We got to be prepared for it. We got to pay a price for achieving a much bigger goal that is absolutely essential.
Yes.
The entire world is with you.
Yes,
Donald
but
Trump
what is the role, sir?
Prime Minister said, whatever action you take,
yes,
we are standing behind you.
No, that is an important piece that is coming through that all-party meeting as well. But Major General, I was just wondering, for the kind of strike that you're talking about, how equipped is the Indian Air Force at this stage? Because yesterday I was talking to a defense analyst who was saying that perhaps we need more Rafales in our fleet. But at this stage in time, how important a role do you think this escalation could take through the Air Force?
Our Air Force is far superior than the Pakistani Air Force. We're not dealing with the Chinese, who are quantitatively and qualitatively superior to us. We're dealing with Pakistan. As far as the Indian Air Force is concerned, it's qualitatively and quantitatively far superior vis-a-vis Pakistan. We got much better aircraft. We got much better weaponry. We've got precision guided weapons. We've got beyond visual range missiles, which are far more potent than what the Pakistanis have got. Similarly, our missile power is far more potent than what Pakistan has got. And this is what we must clearly use to effect.
But sir,
But
don't you
whatever
think there is a
will-
possibility that the Chinese may get involved in case there is an escalation? Is that a fear that we would have to kind of see at the horizon?
Firstly, for the time being, I don't think Pakistan will intervene immediately.
You mean
But
China?
if the escalation goes beyond a point of time, and we start there, China feels that the $65 billion that they spent on CPEC will be lost for all times to come. They could intervene. But if you notice, all previous wars, whether it was 48, 65, 71, 99, the Chinese did not, except for making noises on the border, etc., they did not intervene. And at this point of time, Chinese are very much on the back foot because of the tariff war. They are in fact wanting to improve relations with India, though we got to be very careful of their intentions. They can backstab you at any point of time. But that notwithstanding, at this point of time, they are in an economical mess of their own making, and they would be very careful in taking up cudgels with India. But however, if the Chinese do intervene, India will have to fight its battle from its own shoulders. No other country is going to come to our aid, irrespective of the Quad or irrespective of our relations. What
Right.
France may give to you, what Israel may give to you, what America may give to you is weapons for which you'll have to pay a very heavy price.
But sir, tell me, if this is going to be our approach, how much leeway do our armed forces get from the government? Do you think the government will give our forces a free hand? There would be strategic goals that might be set out, but how to go about it? What are the chances the government is going to leave it to the forces?
I don't think the government will give an absolute free hand. They say, there's a very famous saying that it's best not to leave things to the generals because escalation may go beyond an acceptable level. The final decision must remain with the government, but the government, very carefully on the advice of the armed forces, advice of the CDS, will escalate very, very carefully. We got to realize and remember that Pakistan is a nuclear nation. You cannot go beyond a point of time. And if you go beyond a point of time, we got to be prepared for anything much worse. The escalation ladder will be not in your hands, but it will be decided by the government of India.
In that case, sir, would covert responses through special operation forces, would they be more effective at this point than an overt military strike?
Look, after the surgical strike that we carried out after Uri attack was carried out by the special forces, by the commandos, we chose five targets in a widely separated area, 250 kilometers in hills as well as forested area. No other country in the world carried out such a strike where they stayed in enemy territory beyond 30 to 40 minutes. We stayed 4 to 6 hours. The Pakistanis did not have an iota of idea who was doing and what they do. Our DGMO called the Pakistani DGMO early in the morning. It said around 4 o'clock that the operation was carried out by us and we come back safe and sound. Similarly, when the Balakot strike took place, all aircraft came back safe and sound. I don't think it would be safe to begin the thing with a special forces operation.
Right.
That could be very much on the cards, but I'm very certain that special forces action will not be the first thing that the operation will begin with.
So, what is the strategic goal at this time, you think? Is it time for India to rethink and publicly revise its military doctrine when it comes to Pakistan to be able to build long-term deterrence? What exactly does India need to do, according to you?
Very interesting question. Unfortunately, till date, India does not have a doctrine to deal with Pakistan. Indian armed forces did not have a doctrine. Nor do we have a doctrine how to deal with China. It is very essential that we have a doctrine where there is an integrated joint services doctrine. Up to now, all operations have been carried out by a single service with some sort of support from the other services. If you notice in 2014, from the ramparts of Red Fort, the Prime Minister had declared loud and clear the formation of integrated theatre commands. It's been 11 years. They're still nowhere on the horizon, and I don't know when they'll be actually on the horizon. till such time we have integrated theatre commands and all forces act in unison, you will not be able to achieve the results that you need to achieve in the present day warfare.
Sure.
The warfare has undergone substantial changes over the last 2-3 years, particularly asymmetric warfare, drone warfare, cyber warfare, psychological warfare, information warfare, space-based warfare, laser-based weapon systems, charge beam particle weapons, all this has come into being.
Right.
Some of these are available with us. Anti-drone systems have come into being.
Right.
Every time you carry out an operation, you got to make sure that there's bound to be a drone attack in a massive form by the opposition side, where drones cost very much less. And Pakistan, being a poor nation, will carry out drone strikes. You have to have anti-drone capability with all your battalions and all your brigades, which is still to be in place.
So
We're
are you
still working on
suggesting
this,
a hybrid strategy, sir? Are you saying that we need to be disrupting digital surveillance, logistics systems within Pakistan as a force multiplier?
Look, we are all aware of all these. The government of India is all aware of this, but the budget which is allocated, just about 1.7 to 1.9%, cannot give you all the wherewithal that you need. We got to keep in mind that we may be forced to fight a 2-front war or 2.5-front war, for which you have to prepare yourself. You got to make certain sacrifices and give to the defense services all the wherewithal that is essential for you to survive, for you to be able to not only deter, but absolutely be able to dominate the enemy. And as at present, yes, against Pakistan, we would be in a position to do so.
Yes.
But against China, I've got very serious doubts.
Well, we'll have to see what India's endgame over here is with any kind of military response, whether it's going to be deterrence, it's going to be a degradation of infrastructure, or perhaps now signaling a new normal, as it were, when it comes to Pakistan. But thank you, Major General Seagal. Those were razor-sharp insights you've shared. Tensions are mounting, tempers are flaring, clarity and preparedness are turning out to be more important than ever. And whether India responds militarily more through diplomatic channels, one thing is obvious, that the rules of engagement with Pakistan are changing. This Pahalgam attack has not just shaken the nation, it has reset strategic calculus, as it were. So we are going to track every move, every message, every maneuver. But thanks indeed for joining us. It's time for me to wrap up this edition of Business at 9. Our continuing coverage here on ET Now is going to go on unabated. But thanks very much and good night.